Hey guys, and welcome to TezMania TV. In this video, I'm going to show you how I trim Gaston's fur, which I do once a month. And I always give him a bath first, so that he's nice and clean. I have a separate video about giving your dog a bath, if you want to know more about that. And keep in mind that dogs can have very different fur, and thus different needs when it comes to grooming and bathing. Make sure to read up on what is recommended for the breed of your dog. Not all dogs need trimming or bathing this often. Poodles have curly fur, which means high maintenance, especially for show dogs. Gaston is, however, not a show dog, so he just needs to be clean and happy. I use the hairdryer to dry his fur when grooming him. When he's just taking a bath and not having a trim after, he can air dry. The hairdryer helps fluff up his fur, so that it is easier to cut it evenly. I use a lower heat setting for him than I would on myself, so that he doesn't overheat. Once he's dry, I brush through the entire fur with a brush that gets out any tangles that he might have, leaving everything smooth and ready for a trim. As of right now, I trim the majority of his fur by hand using scissors. At some point, we will get a proper dog trimmer, but he is not too fond of the noise the trimmer makes, and he really enjoys the scissors, so I am perfectly happy cutting his fur by hand. It does take longer, but he is worth it. He finds the grooming process extremely relaxing and almost always falls asleep, especially while I'm working on his face. It doesn't matter where I start, but I usually get the face out of the way first, as the detail work is the most important there. His eyes need to be trimmed perfectly so that he can see properly. I want the ears nicely trimmed as well, and though I'm not featuring it in this video, once a month I also pluck the hairs from inside his ears and clean them properly, which helps prevent ear infection. As I trim the face, and especially around the eyes, even though he sits perfectly still, I make sure to hold his head steady with my free hand, as I of course do not want to risk hurting him should he twitch or be scared by a sound. The dog's safety is important, and it is also important to make the dog feel relaxed during the trim. A nervous dog will hate having their fur trimmed, and it will become this big, negative, dramatic thing instead of a nice, quiet moment together. Getting trimmed should feel good for the dog. As the face is done, I proceed with the neck and back, where the fur can get really thick, almost like sheep's wool. So once we do get a trimmer, I will likely use that for the body, as it will be faster and will help me get an even trim. Today, I do use one of our human trimmers that we use on ourselves as well, as you will see in a minute, to trim the details of the feet, for instance. We also have a miniature trimmer for the detailed areas, like between the toes, but it was out of batteries when I recorded this. I make sure to trim the tail and butt carefully, as he's very sensitive back there. It is important to not leave too much hair around the butt, because feces can get stuck in there after he poops, and anyone who has ever seen a dog being ashamed of themselves knows exactly how horrible they feel about a butt full of poop. It's not fun. I trim the legs the same way as the rest of the body, and when it comes to the stomach, Mr. Tez helps by lifting the front paws up so that it can reach properly, and this goes for the groin too. The only part of the trim that Gaston isn't comfortable with is the paws. He is super ticklish, so trimming between his toe beans has to be fast and effective. That is where the small trimmer usually comes in handy, but the scissors or the big trimmer works too. The human trimmer can be used as a means of correcting some uneven spots in the fur by holding the fur section by section with my fingers and running the trimmer over the fingers. This ensures the same length all over. But again, the most important thing to me is that Gaston is happy and healthy. If his fur should happen to be a little uneven, it doesn't matter at all. He doesn't care and we don't care. No one will judge him based on his look, and the fluffy teddy bear look is what we love, so that is what we go for. Nothing advanced, nothing high maintenance. The whole process of bathing and trimming him takes me about 2 hours, and that is 2 hours I happily spend with him once a month. Thank you for watching.